Hey everybody, it's me, Alex, and Frankie once again.
Hello.
We said we were gonna do another podcast kind of style thing next week, but we really wanted to just keep talking about stuff because we find it fun. You guys might just be like, "What the fuck ever," but welcome to the show. This is gonna be on both our channels as usual. And today we're going to be talking about the classic Sonic games from the Genesis era, including the Sega CD, Sonic the Hedgehog CD. And I don't think there's anything else beyond that. I mean, you want to talk about the Game Gear games a little bit?
Not really.
Nah, they're not worth the time.
It's not. Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah, nobody talks about the Game Gear games nor the Master System games, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. For those of you who don't know, I'd be confused. Sonic the Hedgehog was first released in June of 1991. I believe June 23rd is the exact release date.
Yeah, and for some reason he appeared in Sega or Gale Racer for the Sega Saturn and arcades first before Sonic 1, I think. It was really weird.
That is really weird.
Yeah, he's just a little chain dangling from the top of the car rear view mirror.
Yeah, it's like they want you to know, hey, we got a new character coming.
Hell yeah, boys, let's go. It's gonna be great. Little did we know that it would be to mediocrity, but
Sonic 1 crushed. Absolutely crushed. In terms of sales. That was wow.
A surefire hit, I guess.
He's what Sega needed.
Because they tried having a character, Alex Kidd, be their mascot, but the gameplay and just the character himself is not very appealing.
I never played Alex Kidd, so I don't have an opinion one way or the other.
I wouldn't even bother. I mean, if you're gonna play it, play the remakes, I guess, or the remake of the first one, I think it is.
But Sonic is in a lot of ways intended to be kind of like a more cool, edgy, hip Mario, if you will.
Yeah, more like the opposite of Mario.
Yeah, exactly. Sonic,
even in somewhat the gameplay department too.
Well, Sonic 1 is a 2D platformer. Where you control Sonic through, I want to say 7 zones.
Let's see what we got.
We'll go through the zones in a minute because I want to talk about all of them. But it's a very simple game to control. You just run, you jump, and you have a spin dash. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
And even the spin dash,
you don't get to have a spin dash in the original Sonic one.
Well, I mean, you have the roll. If you run fast and hit down, he does roll.
They wouldn't get the spin dash to Sonic 1 until many people thought it was actually Sonic Genesis that introduced it, but no, it was Sonic Jam on the Sega Saturn that introduced the spin dash, and it worked just like the Sonic 2 and 3 spin dash.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that Sonic CD bullshit, but
your goal throughout the levels is to collect rings, destroy robots, save your animal friends, and beat up Dr. Robotnik.
And gather the 6 Chaos Emeralds. For some reason, they exist. No reasoning.
Yeah, so the 6 Chaos Emeralds. There are only 6 of them.
Yeah, and the special stages, they're not bad, but holy shit, they can be trippy and hard sometimes.
Yeah, so after you complete a zone with 50 rings, you can jump into a giant ring, and also into a special stage, which is like you control Sonic through a weird grid thing.
Yeah, like in the level spinning.
And there are birds and fish in the background, and it's strange.
It's psychedelic. I guess that's what it's like if you're on drugs. Like hard drugs anyway.
I mean, to be honest, the Chaos Emeralds don't really do anything in this game. They're just there.
They're only there for 2 reasons: bragging rights and a slightly altered ending.
Otherwise, they don't really matter in the grand scheme of Sonic 1.
I don't think they expected Sonic the Hedgehog to boom as big as it fucking did. So they probably didn't have any idea. they were like, all right, it's gonna be a one-shot game like usual. But it's probably not gonna do well. We're not gonna think too hard about it. But then when Sonic 2 came around, they were like, oh shit! Like, but after the sales, like you said, it just was insane.
And Sonic 1 only has really 2 characters in it.
especially for a company at the time that was really a no name. Even when the Genesis came out in '89, it was like kind of known, but when Sonic came out, it just propelled the Genesis into success.
Yeah, there's only there's the story of this game is really simple. Dr. Eggman has invaded your home and turned your friends into robots. So you're like,
And
screw you, and you're going to save them.
I'm gonna hold you up on there with the name. For some reason, North American continuity, they decided to, and mostly the Western continuity, they changed his name to Robotnik. I don't
And
know which.
he's
I don't really. I like either name. I can go either way. But I prefer Eggman.
For the classic games, he's Robotnik. Starting with Sonic Adventure, they changed it to Eggman.
But they tried to keep it in, but they just were like they even wrote it off in Frontiers that like Sonic says it to make fun of him, and he embraces it now.
Yeah, it's meant to be like in the American continuity. It's meant to be like Sonic making fun of him for being a fat ass.
Yeah.
But I'm so used to calling him Eggman at this point that I just call him Eggman.
Yeah, and the Sonic Generations had an exclusive line for about Dr. Robotnik and Eggman. You know, the classic tale says, "It's Dr. Robotnik. No one calls me that anymore." I was like, wait a minute. And then people were like, that's not what they say in Japanese.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to Generations eventually.
Yeah, I know. It just kind of tied in a little bit with the history of the name, so I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah, so Sonic goes through all these zones. The first zone is probably the most iconic zone in the whole series, Green Hill Zone.
Yeah, you've seen it. It's like the Wispy Woods of the Kirby franchise, man. It's in every game, pretty much, it feels like, or a variant of it.
It's always there, and you can't escape it. It's even in Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah, it is, and the levels in that are great. So there you go.
But it's a very basic tutorial level. Not really difficult, but it's very iconic.
And this level took a long time to develop, apparently. It took the most time to develop out of all the levels combined, I guess. So it makes sense.
Each zone is also split into 3 acts. So you have the first 2 acts, which are standard levels, and the third act, which is the boss level.
So those 3 acts took the longest to develop, apparently, because of them just learning how to go with momentum-based physics and rolling up, like, what do they call that? You know, hills going up and down, stuff like that. That was a new concept in like platformers, I guess. Which it kind of was. You didn't see any like platformers like Sonic in terms of like the ground being like hilly and all that stuff. But, like it's not just a flat straight line.
So after this, you had Marble Zone, which is more like a Mario level, in all honesty.
Yeah, it's like the game that goes to a screeching halt, but then it goes back too fast because again, the stage order is very weird.
Yeah, after Marble Zone, you go to Spring Yard Zone, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, but Marble Zone just really sucks when you first play through Sonic 1 for your very first time, especially as a kid, because that is such a fucking curveball of like what you expect next that you're just like, oh my god, I suck at this.
I guess what's after Spring Yard Zone?
Yeah, but Spring Yard though, let's talk about that one. I mean, it's a mixture. It feels like a mixture of Green Hill and a little bit of Marble Zone with like some puzzle elements, like slowing down a little bit, but it feels like its own unique stage. It just feels like it's a mixture of slow and fast.
Yeah, it's fun. I liked it.
And that was the first level, I believe. No, the second. No, was it? No, actually, no. Marble Zone started the trend of going through walls to find hidden items like 1-ups, 10-ring boxes, special rings, you know? And it's really cool.
That is really cool. And then we have, after that, fucking Labyrinth Zone.
That level is complete garbage, especially the boss act, because Frankie here he's playing on Sonic Origins, was having such a horrific time against him.
Oh my god, fuck that level.
If they gave you some rings before you fought him, that'd be nice, and the shield. But they only give you the shield, and after that, you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly. It's not fun.
No, no, it's the worst part of the game, honestly, in my opinion.
Oh, easily.
Like
And
that
then
dock, I think that could dock the game like a half point for me.
after that we have Starlight Zone, which is actually a lot of fun.
I like Starlight Zone. The music is amazing. I like the starry background with a little bit of the city in the bottom. It's nice, very
Starlight
nice.
Zone's really fun. Then we have the
Yeah.
final level, Scrap Brain Zone.
And that one's split up into 4.
No, it's 3 acts. The final act is Final Zone, but that's basically Scrap Brain Act 4.
No, but yeah, I was gonna say you go through Act 1 and 2, but at the end of Act 2 or Act 3 that you're about to go fight the final boss, and then Eggman sends you down to basically Labyrinth Zone Act 4.
Yeah, it's the end of Act 2, and he drops you into Act 3, which is his Labyrinth Zone.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you hold left immediately and take the shortcut. It pretty much cuts the level like 3/4.
Yeah, honestly, it does. And then Final Zone is just the final boss. It's nothing exciting. The final boss actually kind of sucks.
Yeah, like I remember as a kid having so many issues with the balls that would come at you. But after I got old enough, I was just like, yeah, I know what to do. It's whatever. It's piss easy. Just go to the right. And now that, especially now that you have the spin dash in like Origins and any mods or it really, or on the Saturn version, shit, you can just spin dash all the way to the left side, and the balls are going all the way to the right. And hitting Eggman is just a pain in the ass because you don't know which side he's going to be on. There's no tell. Make sure you don't hit him again after you hit him the 8th time. Apparently, if you do, it'll fuck the counter up and it'll make it so you have to hit him 256 times in order to kill him.
What?
Yeah, coding bug, right?
Okay.
256 is the maximum hits that Eggman can take in scripted events that he's not normally able to die in. Because you can destroy Eggman in, say, the Sonic 3 portions where he just appears for a little bit. Like, you know how, like, in Launch Base, he's just there holding an item, and then he just flies away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if you have Tails go up there and just keep hitting him over and over and over again, he won't move. He just pops away, and an animal comes out of him, and he's gone. It's so weird.
That's not normal.
Yeah, but they may have fixed it in Origins, but I don't know. I mean, it's a good collection, I'd say. I mean, if you want to play them in the modern era, especially 16:9 widescreen, that really helps you with like speedrunning the games because, especially like things like Sonic 1, because they give you the drop dash, the spin dash is still there, and you can like change up some items in the what do you call it, the not debug menu, but the cheat menu, level select menu.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, you can turn on like Sonic 3 shields, the Insta Shield. I think the drop dash is accessible too.
It might
That's
be.
on. I don't know if it's automatically on or not, but it is there. And it really helps with this game, especially compared to the Genesis version. So if you're gonna play Sonic 1 today, probably like in a casual sense, because there's obviously you could probably play it on PC and mod the fuck out of it.
There are so many different ways you can get Sonic 1.
Yeah, but the best way to play Sonic 1 for me right now is definitely the Origins collection because of all just the quality of life things they added to it, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough.
You beat Dr. Robotnik at the end, and then you could choose to hit him as he's flying away or not. But everyone chooses to hit him, and he just flies down, exploding.
So it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, and then Sonic just at the end just starts running through Green Hill from right to left, and he stops. And if you have all the Chaos Emeralds, a lot of the things around him like add new like plant flower things, and Sonic's surprised, and then Eggman is angry, jumping on the end sign. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Written to be a one-off game, definitely.
But hey, we got Sonic 2 a year later, so.
That's considered by many to be the best Sonic game.
Which is canonically the third game in the series, but.
Yeah, because at the time, Sonic CD was being developed over in Japan, while Yuji Naka went over to North America and worked on Sonic 2. So that's kind of funny.
But since Sonic 2 came out first, we'll go ahead and talk about Sonic 2.
Okay, yeah. You go ahead first.
Oh, excuse the fuck out of me. I was going to let you have the floor. Fuck you.
Yeah, man, I took the floor with Sonic 1, for the most part.
Sonic 2 comes out a year later, and there's a significant new addition. We got a little boyfriend. I didn't mean to say that way.
Oh, sure you did.
Yeah, shit.
You just made Rule 34 fans go.
So we have a new companion.
Friend.
His name is
buddy.
Tails.
A buddy old pal, Miles Tails Prower.
Yeah, he's your sidekick, and he can fly.
Well, not when you play as him in the original Genesis games.
Oh, he can in 3. He can in 3. He can in 3.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird he can't fly in Sonic 2, but in the original Genesis versions. But in Origins, I think they gave him the ability to fly on his own. Oh, fun fact about the Sonic 2 when it first came out in Origins, there was a glitch if Tails went off screen, he would get stuck somewhere and he would just keep infinitely jumping and would never respawn.
That's really funny.
Yeah, the game was a little buggy when it came out because Sega was like, we're going to use this buggier version for the launch title instead of the version that you guys fixed up already and sent to us.
Which doesn't really make sense.
Sega being Sega, they make a fantastic game like Frontiers, and then they do this.
They can't get out of their own way.
They should have just waited till like October for this to come out, honestly.
They wanted it to coincide with the anniversary.
I hate when they do that. If your game is not ready, don't do that. We'll wait.
I don't disagree.
I know. I mean, I'd rather have a polished product right from the get-go, so whenever I have to boot it up for the first time ever on a console that's not online, I don't need to play the buggy version and need to find a way to, like, update it online if I don't have online, for example. Or, hell, when the servers go offline, you can't freaking patch this game. You have to go online, download the patch on a what do you call those, USB drive?
Yep.
Plug it into your system, and then find some magical way to download the patch into your system. It's like, come on. I mean, the patches are great, but Jesus Christ, in the long run, they're gonna suck.
So let's actually talk about Sonic 2 now.
Sorry, my bad. I went on a tangent because Sonic Origins came out buggy mess.
Shut the fuck up. Anyway, so...
You're not wrong. Shut the fuck up and talk about the goddamn game. So, Sonic 2, it has a 2-player mode actually in versus mode.
We're not talking about the 2-player mode.
But it's fun.
We're going to talk about the actual game. Stop getting off track.
No. We're going to just quickly go over this real quick, and then we're going to go back to that. So, there's only 4 stages that you can go through. You have Green Hill, Casino Night, Mystic Cave, and then what the hell was the other one? The Special Stage Zone, right?
Dude, I don't know. I don't touch the multiplayer of this game.
Well, I have, okay? So don't be a bitch. So,
I have, okay? Don't be a bitch.
So, if you can get somebody to play with you, it can be fun, because I used to play it with my cousin all the time when I was a kid, and either I'd win all the time, or he'd win all the time. There was no in between. We were very competitive all the way back then with, like, multiplayer race like games like that. So that was a perfect thing for us. But the only problem I had with it was the weird stretching on the screen. Right? You know that.
Yeah, I do.
It's so fucking weird. Sonic is just squished. The whole screens are just squished. But I think they fixed it in Origins. But yeah, it's nothing really to write home about. You can get randomized like item capsules that either give your opponent a one up or you one up. Disadvantage to you. You warp between like you swap places with a warp. It's kind of cool looking actually with a white like screen. So yeah, and the special stages are just based off the Chaos Emerald stages, which we'll talk about now because that's all there is to multiplayer. I mean, there's also in the single player mode the moment where the second player can control Tails and help you play through the game a little bit, but it's a little impossible to do that because you're going to be taking Tails off camera all the time.
So the game does not focus on Tails. The game focuses on Sonic. So
yeah, there's only one other game that tried to do that and it did okay with, but we'll talk about it another day.
So there was an attempt to not only streamline the game but make it better, and it's basically an improvement on the first game in pretty much every way.
Yeah, I'd say about pretty much 95-ish% of the game is pretty damn slapping.
Except for the special stages, but we'll get there.
Now let's focus on the original Genesis version, and then we'll talk about what they changed in Origins.
So the Genesis version has you, well, every version of the game has you go through multiple zones again. And the game is, I would say, probably a little bit easier than Sonic 1.
For the most part, yeah, it's a little bit easier because...
Until the final boss! But we'll get there.
Yeah, unless you play the Sonic Jam version, where they give you a few rings, that's just bullshit. Anyway. You start off with Emerald Hill, which is basically another green hill. And...
It's nothing to write home about.
I mean, it's a good beginning stage. Like, compared to Green Hill, you go a lot faster in this stage. And Sonic actually has removed his speed cap that he had in Sonic 1, where he runs at max speed. For some reason, if you go downhill, it just looked weird. They obviously changed that in Origins, but whatever. So in Sonic 2, they took the speed cap off, and you can actually go off screen depending on how fast you go.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's pretty cool. It is really cool, but at the same time, it's like, fuck. But they designed levels in such a way that you wouldn't get hit by an enemy if you did that anyway, so kudos to them.
Yeah, good job, guys. Then we have Chemical Plant Zone, the zone that keeps coming back.
Just like Green Hill.
Yeah, I'm kind of sick of Chemical Plant at this point, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'd rather see Mystic Cave. Sonic and Cave levels, especially just that one section in Frontiers, was so cool.
I mean, it's not a bad level or anything. I'm personally sick of seeing it constantly.
It's just the aesthetic you're sick of. That's it.
Exactly.
The level design in a Chemical Plant Zone can be really damn good, and you can still appreciate it for being good, but you're just like, I wish it was just something more original, or at least something different from a different era of Sonic, not just the Genesis era.
Exactly. Then we have Aquatic Ruin Zone, which I think is a pretty cool zone.
Yeah, and it's basically the labyrinth zone of the stage in terms of theming, but in terms of level design, completely fucking different, because you got two paths. If you are good in terms of platforming, you can take the top path and zippity zoop your way through the level, no water whatsoever. But if you're a little bit, stupid like me as a kid, and even to this day, you miss it and then you fall in the water and you still have to get out. But you actually go fast in the water, which is really weird.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah, the falling pillars under the water though. Sometimes you get crushed by them.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I hate that shit. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool stage. I mean, also in this stage you meet a badnik called Grounder, which would be used for the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog show, but they changed his color to like a weird bluish dark blue gray in the show, while he's like red in this one. So Scratch also appears, I believe, in this too, in one of the later zones, right?
He might. I'm not 100% sure because I'll be honest. I didn't really watch a lot of the cartoons.
I watched a decent amount of it. It was all right for a kids show. So, what was after Aquatic Ruin? So, well, I mean,
Casino Night.
and the boss of Aquatic Ruin was actually pretty piss easy to break too.
Casino Night is after.
Oh my God, I love Casino Night. I don't
Oh,
care how
great.
many times they use a casino theme for Sonic. It always is amazing. Because
Oh yeah.
when he jumps, he looks like a pinball. That's a perfect formula for Sonic, and they use it very damn well with the flippers and the physics, the bumpers and the slot machines, and it's pretty satisfying stuff to do, especially your first time around. Like the graphics are like to this day are so beautiful.
Yeah, no, Sonic 2 is a great looking Genesis game. For sure.
Yeah, I'd say that level is probably the peak of its like graphical backgrounds.
I
Maybe.
would have to agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
After
yeah,
that after that we have a much more boring level, Hilltop Zone.
it is basically Blue Green Hill, but a little
Yeah.
slower.
Yeah, it's not that fun of a level, honestly. Mystic Cave is okay.
Yeah, Mystic Cave was is I like the music in that one a lot. That one's really has some groovy ass music. Did we mention that the music in this game is like fucking phenomenal?
Oh my god, yeah, how can we not mention the soundtrack in a Sonic video? Oh man.
Yeah, I know. Green Emerald Hill, pretty good shit. Very iconic. Chemical
Casino
Plant.
Chemical Plants like, oh man.
Yeah, Chemical Plant was really damn good. I'm kind of sick of the theme now, but that's because they overused it too much. But that's okay. But honestly, it's a great track. But then what was the next one? Aquatic Ruin, right?
Yep. Yeah,
That one's actually really good. Like
it is.
even though it's like kind of an okay stage, it has some really good music. I can hear it right now in my head. Then there's Casino Night, and oh my god,
Casino
Casino
Night's
Night!
track is so good.
It slaps so fucking hard that it's stuck in my head to this day. Whenever I think Sonic 2, I think the first zone in Casino Night.
Yeah, pretty much.
And PTSD reminds me of the Death Egg Zone. But then
Yeah,
what was next after Mystic Cave? Then there's kind of a dip. Oil
Oil
Ocean.
Ocean. Yeah, not the most fun level.
Yeah, it's not terrible, but there is some bullshit enemy placement, like those seahorses that float in the air. They shoot the black ink balls at you. Like they come out of fucking nowhere, and you can't even reach them before they fire them, even if you're jumping at them. It's not fair.
After that, we probably have the most notorious zone in the game, Metropolis.
Yeah, as I've gotten older, it's not as bad, but as a kid, I hated that fucking stage. Not
Slicers!
Yeah, slicers. I've learned how to deal with them, but back then, fuck those things. And crab meat, whatever they call those things. Jesus, that thing sucked to
And
fight.
then the Asterons. Oh my god.
Yeah, if you had tails with you, and you're on the spinning like gears, you know how they explode when you go up.
Yep.
Tails' hitbox is slightly bigger than Sonic's, so if Tails is on there, they will see you, and that's why they explode. If you're just playing as Sonic, they don't go off.
Oh wow. Thanks, Tails.
I know, right? It's like, fuck you.
This is somehow your fault.
I imagine that pisses you off that you didn't probably know that, huh?
No, I didn't know that actually, Alex. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, when you play Sonic 2 in the future, after you sadly get through Sonic 1, you'll know not to have Tails with you. Having
Yeah.
Tails with you in the game is actually a real pain in the ass because let's talk about the special stages real quick. Very cool concept, but on the original Genesis, very hard to do because the frame rate is garbage.
Oh my god, the half pipe, the fucking half pipe.
Yeah, if you memorize the levels because you can, and I have memorized like the first like 3 levels maybe, but and the last one because it's impossible not to memorize that one because it's so fucking bizarre. The rings are like everywhere. But the original Genesis, they're good, but if you're gonna play it now, definitely Origins because those stages are buttery smooth, and I'm like, yeah, this is nice. And you
You're
can see things coming up from a lot farther. The draw distance is not nearly as bad. Because it was on Genesis, I'm okay with it being the way it is.
Just like the first game, when you complete a special stage, you get a Chaos Emerald. The way to get the Chaos Emerald is a little different, because instead of going to the end of the level, you go to a checkpoint and a portal appears, I think, when you have 50 rings.
Yeah, you have to have an X amount of rings. Otherwise, you're not going to continue to the next, section of it. It's usually split into 3 sections. The first one you get 40 rings. Next one you gotta get like 110 rings, and then the last one 150 rings.
But so there are now 7 Chaos Emeralds.
Just like there's 7 Dragon Balls. Wait a minute.
And if you get all 7 Chaos Emeralds and you grab 50 rings and jump, Sonic will turn into Super Sonic.
Definitely a Super Saiyan homage.
Oh, has to be. But
Yeah,
Super Sonic is faster than Sonic, completely jumps higher, and is completely invincible.
Yeah. Only problem in the original Sonic 2, for multiple ports until Origins, if you jumped, if you had 50 rings, you would immediately turn into Super Sonic. But thankfully, they changed it to using a different button to changing into him. I mean, Sonic 3, you had to push the jump button again, but they changed that in Origins as well to just being a separate button, so you can still use the Insta Shield.
Well, that's good.
Yes. So yeah, Super Sonic, really fucking cool shit. It's definitely a nice Super Saiyan, homage and tribute to, and it's a staple of the series.
Yeah, he's been around basically every game since.
Pretty much, except Sonic 3D Blast, but does that really count?
No, it doesn't count. As a matter of fact.
Yeah, there's no reason to get it unless you want the Super Boss. Anyway, and at the Metropolis Zone, we have one of the most beautiful sounding like Genesis chiptune tracks I've ever heard.
Oh, Sky Chase.
Yeah. Oh my god. It's such a beautiful track. Well, it's an okay level. It's an interesting concept. You're riding on the tornado, and was it the Tornado 2, or did that come out later?
Tornado 2 wasn't until Sonic Adventure.
Okay, so yeah,
it's just a tornado.
Okay, so basically you just kind of turn Sonic left and right. You can jump, and Tails will always catch you, it's weird at first because you think you're going to fall off, but it works okay. It's basically just a Mario auto-scrolling level. That's it. We thought Sonic 1 on the Master System only had auto-scrolling levels. Bam.
So after that, we get what's basically the final zone of the game, because just like the first game, the last
one last step. One last step. Don't go maximum spin dash speed on the Sky Chase, otherwise you will fall off and die.
No, you'll die. Yeah. So the actual final zone of the game, because the actual last zone is just the final boss. Wing Fortress Zone.
Very cool music. Very cool idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely anxiety-inducing for your first couple tries as a kid, but once you understand how to exploit the level with getting the shield, hitting these like pillar or wind blades, just get past them and skip half the level. But being above like absolutely nothing 90-ish% of the time, that's gonna be a running thing with me saying that. So get used to it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say more than half the time because Jesus Christ, it's pretty much all the time. You're jumping from like bars that you hold from above your head to the next platform. You're near like the jets of the place, of the ship, I should say. It's pretty damn cool. And there's moments where these platforms like pop out and go away. That's the worst thing to do if you have all the Chaos Emeralds and you get Supersonic and you jump way too high and you have to like preemptively jump. It's fucking annoying. That's why I don't get the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 2, because that part fucks me up.
Yeah. So after that, we get the Death Egg Zone, which just consists of the two final.
You forgot that there is a little mini boss that you have to do at the end of it that is like reused later, But after you beat it, Sonic runs, jumps onto Eggman's ship going into space, and I guess so we can confirm that Sonic can breathe in space.
Yay.
Then,
And then you get to the Death Egg Zone, which really just consists of the last two bosses. There's no rings, and one of the hardest bosses in the series, the Death Egg Robot,
yeah, I mean, before that you have Silver Sonic, I guess.
who's not that bad.
Nah,
But
he's not terrible. Just be patient, and then you'll get him.
yeah, the Death Egg Robot, however, ooh,
You gotta be patient. And like nowadays, it's not that bad, but back then it was fucking a nightmare. Especially if you play as Knuckles in Sonic 2,
good luck.
you're not gonna be able to reach him during those like moments where he's just walking forward. You have to wait till he goes up in the air and then drops down and bends forward.
Because Knuckles doesn't jump as high as Sonic, so.
Yeah, basically it's Sonic 2 hard mode.
But otherwise, Sonic 2 is a great game.
Yeah.
It's an improvement on the first one in almost every conceivable way, except for, I think, the special stages.
Special stages I think are better than the Sonic 1 stages, to be honest.
No, you know why? I can get through the Sonic 1. The Sonic 2 one just makes me want to throw my controller.
Well, you haven't played the Origins ones yet, so you might change your mind.
That's true, but also I'm so sour.
I didn't fail once. I
so,
failed before on the Genesis ones multiple times, but on the Origins, I didn't fail once.
I'm so sour toward the half pipe, though. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you, man, for being sour about it because Jesus, because they're ridiculously hard. Probably for you, second hardest one in the franchise.
Oh man.
I know what your first one is.
What special stages?
Yeah, Mania.
I'll fucking hate those.
Don't if you hate them, don't play the encore mode because holy shit, they're. It feels like you started like stage 8. It's like the difficulty picks up right off where it left off with the 7th Emerald.
Oh,
But
good lord.
yeah, it's a nightmare. I could never beat it. Couldn't even beat the first fucking special stage. So
Wow.
yeah, it's bad. The stages are great, but it's just because they redesigned all the stages in encore mode, so to accommodate for the new 2 characters. So with Sonic 1 on Origins, they added new playable characters. By the way, I should have mentioned this because in the original Sonic 1, you only played as Sonic, but they added the ability to play as Tails and Knuckles, which is really fucking cool for some of us who like.
That is really cool. That is actually
Yeah.
really cool. I like that a lot.
And then, of course, in Sonic 2, you can play as all 3 of them, but that was there from the very beginning, so that's nothing surprising.
No, it's not.
No. So then we move on to Sonic CD, because that came out afterwards on the Sega CD in 1993.
Yeah, so Sega
2
CD
years.
didn't really have the only notable games I can think of on Sega CD are this and like Night Trap.
Yeah, I mean, there are some good games on there, but you gotta. Like, there's Lunar Star. Those are great. That's a great fucking game, apparently. But it sucks. It's stuck on the Sega CD because it is like over $1,000 now.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, I know it sucks. It's like, and it was made by Working Designs. They are known for making games in very limited quantities. I only own like, let's see, one. I think I own 2 Working Designs games.
I can only think of one, and I think that's Dragon Force that I own.
Yeah, you own Dragon Force. I own, what's the first Albert Odyssey, and Magic Knight Rayer.
Oh yeah. Flex that Magic Knight Rayer ownership. Why don't you?
I had to. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Don't rob me. Please don't dox me.
Don't at me.
Don't, please. I mean, if you want to buy it from me, I mean, maybe, but fuck you. You're not getting it.
Anyway, but Sonic CD is a very different Sonic game compared to the first two.
Mhm.
First off, the Japanese soundtrack and the American soundtracks are completely different.
Minus the past stages. For some reason, those were like locked in via the hardware, so they couldn't change those even if they
I don't
could.
know why they bothered. Is the thing.
Probably because they thought, oh, this cutesy music, especially for the Palm Tree Panic Zone, sounds so kiddie and icky. So they wanted to make Sonic sound cooler and awesome and
I
that
think the
90s.
Japanese version is just better.
Oh, it is so much better. I mean, not to say the North American soundtrack's bad. It's just not as good.
And like this has an anime opening, which I find interesting.
Yeah, like on the original Sega CD, it looked like shit.
And
But
every other version it looks a lot better. Yeah.
yeah, Gems, it looked. I think it was in its original format, and then they stretched it for some reason in the or the PS3 and Xbox 360 and PC ports. Then in
Sonic
Origins,
boom, Sonic boom, Sonic boom.
I think in Origins they actually played it in its actual aspect ratio. And in Origins, you can play as Tails. For some reason, they couldn't get Knuckles to work,
You
even
can
though a
play
Sonic
as
fan mod.
you could also play as Tails in the 2011 re-release of Sonic CD.
Yeah, they couldn't. They say they couldn't get Knuckles to work, but there's a Sonic CD mod out there that you can play as Knuckles, and it works.
Fans do what Sega don't.
I know. I mean, like somebody modded Sonic 2 to where when you get to the Death Egg Zone, it's actually not just a straight shot to the boss; it's actually a full-out stage.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I love it. Oh shit! I forgot to talk about the major differences with Sonic 2's on Origins. Minus the we talked about some of them. Obviously, wider aspect ratio, higher frame rate for the bonus stages, a glitched out Tails at first, but now it's fixed. But if there's an infamous pit in Sonic 2 in the Mystic Cave Zone, where if you miss the thing pulley to bring down the bridge, you'll fall down to a pit of spikes. It sucks, you die, whatever. But as Super Sonic, it's even worse because you have to sit there and fucking wait. There's Sonic animations making fun of that. It's fucking hilarious. But in this, you fall down into like a pit, and it transports you to Hidden Palace Zone, which was a scrapped zone with some scrapped enemies in there too. Um, at least in the Sonic Lost World version that I have on a Sega Genesis ROM on a cart. It's pretty fucking cool. So, yeah, you play through I think one zone or two zones of it. I think it's just one zone. And then you get to the end and it's like Eggman, it's like shooting music notes at you and shit. It's similar to the Mystic Cave boss fight, but it's just a little. It's an original boss for the most part. It's very interesting, and then the game goes back on track. It's kind of cool.
Well, all right then.
Yeah. So now back to Sonic CD.
Yeah, so Sonic CD does something a little different. Instead of having acts and zones, it has rounds, and then each act is a zone. It's weird.
Rounds? What do you mean?
Like, so instead of zones, the levels are called rounds, and each
Really?
round has 3 zones. Yeah, it's weird.
I didn't know they were called. Wait, each act has 3 rounds?
No, so each round has 3 zones. Instead of acts, they're zones, and now zones are rounds.
What the fuck? I don't remember. I
It's
didn't know they did
really
that.
weird.
I don't remember that at all. What the hell? Mandela effect. Okay. Huh.
You know, dude,
So
it's strange.
so let's go on about the original port, and then we'll talk about the slight modifications that they did to the remaster.
I've never actually played the original version of Sonic CD.
On GameCube, that port.
Wasn't that the PC version?
Yeah, which is basically just the Sega CD
I've
version.
only played it on Gem's PS3, and I have or
Yeah, the PS3 remaster is pretty much similar to the for the most part, to the the new one, and you can put the elemental shields in too. So yeah, the original version, the spin dash, it was being worked on for that game without the knowledge of what Sonic 2 spin dash was, because two different development teams, one thought his spin dash should be this way, and the other development team thought it should be that way. But you want to utilize the figure 8 spin peel out, super peel out, I think it's called, which makes you go fast. It makes you go faster, but you have a problem with getting hit. So they want to utilize that, but I usually use the spin dash. But they fixed it in the remaster by making it the Sonic 2 spin dash. So I was like, there's no point in using the other one then to get more speed. I mean, sure, that the spin dash may not have been as fast, but what are you gonna do?
Cry.
Yeah, cry about it like every other fucking Sonic. Like every Sonic fan out there crying about everything. But yeah. So let's talk about the zones.
Yes, let's do that. So the first one is
Panic.
Yeah. I think it's a better first level than both Green Hill and Emerald Hill, if I'm honest.
It's alright. It's a little designed weird, but Sonic CD is designed very weird overall, and it hasn't held up very well. There was a point in time where people were saying this was the best Sonic game. I was like, dude, no. Looking at back
there's a mechanic in here that is only present in this game where you have a time travel
mechanic. Yes.
Weird.
It's annoying to pull off, but there were like I've seen fan mods where you just run to it, Sonic grabs the pole, spins around it, and then it's immediately the next like era. Pretty cool.
It's something.
Yeah. You want to go to the past to find these robot generators, and when you destroy each one and all the zones, we're just going by Sonic 2 logic with the naming. When you beat the first two zones, you create good futures in both of them. And then if you check the future out, in each zone, it's like a paradise basically. But if you don't, it becomes like a dystopian future ruled by Eggman, and the boss looks different a little bit too, depending on which future you take. Like in the future for the Palm Tree Panic, he has a pink one if you have a good future, but in the bad future, it's like a reddish black one.
Yeah. Or you can just get the time stones.
Yeah, and if you want to get the special ending, I guess. Which is a cool thing to watch the first time around, but after that, just you can just watch on YouTube. There's no Supersonic in this one.
No, there's not.
Because he was not a known concept to them at the time over there. Because communication back in the early 90s was probably kind of harder than it is now.
Or they just didn't try. The second zone is called Collision Chaos. It's like a weird forest casino thing. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, and the ceiling is also the ground. It's weird.
Yeah, then we have Tidal Tempest, which is your water level, but it's so much better than Labyrinth.
Spring Yard really is what Collision Chaos is, right?
Yeah, it's more like Spring Yard.
Mm-hmm. It's more annoying now. A lot of the design Sonic CD is annoying because it just has shit laid out everywhere. It's like a bad ROM hack sometimes.
You know, Sonic CD has some crazy designs, and not always in a good way.
No. Back when I first played it in 2005, because I know it was the same year the Gems Collection came out because Shadow the Hedgehog came out that year. I thought it was a great game. Loved it. But now I play it now, I'm like, oh my god, it's kind of a pain in the ass to play.
After Tidal Tempest, we have Quartz Quadrant, which is what?
It's a stage. It exists. It's
So,
one of the most forgettable stages in the fucking game.
I feel the same way about Wacky Workbench. Okay.
I can't forget that level because of the fucking bouncing, floor. I hate it. Remember how our friend Chris, said it's one of the worst Sonic games, if not the worst. I can see it where he's coming. And not the worst, but I can see where he's coming from a little bit.
I don't agree with it at all.
No, just how it's a bad game in general.
It's not a bad game.
In terms of level design, it's not good, but it's not terrible. It's just there. But that's your Wacky Workbench.
Stardust Speedway.
Cool concept. I can't see what the fuck's going on because everything is so like what. And if you like springs and going in many directions, you're gonna like this. And lots of boost pads that lead to nowhere and shoot you back, and you can phase through certain platforms. Sometimes you can't. If you like cannons, you can shoot out of those. I don't know.
And then Metallic Madness. Okay, fine.
Wait, we forgot the Metal Sonic boss fight in that film.
Oh yeah, the Metal Sonic race, which you're always only gonna win by a hair.
Yeah, because the way they design it is like you have to time your jumps just fucking right. To jump over the spikes, and
always on your fucking ass.
If not, he'll get ahead of you for a little bit. But it's one of the most iconic moments of the game in the franchise, and it's probably one of the best parts of the game, even though it's not amazing.
Yeah, they also introduced Amy in this game, so.
Mm-hmm. Which Metal Sonic steals in Collision Chaos, and then goes off with it.
And then Sonic's like, dude, you were just like stalking me, but I guess I'll save you. Sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What was next? Oh, Metallic Madness.
It's an okay final zone. It's the first game where the final zone is actually a level.
Yeah, I hate that in Act 3, the final boss, the first part of the stage is a complete bottomless pit. The only time in the game there's ever a bottomless pit, and they put it right at the fucking end of the game. And
oh yeah,
they give you the scrap brain zone spinning platforms.
Oh yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah, it's bullshit. That's why I think it's fun to play its Tails and just say fuck that shit and fly over it.
Tails breaks this game in two.
It's funny. But yeah, final boss sucks balls.
Yeah, this is definitely the weakest of the classic Sonic games.
In terms of, especially in terms of bosses, some are interesting concepts, but
Metal
really
Sonic is definitely the best one.
Yeah, and you don't even fight him. Eggman is just so easy to kill in this game. 3 hits and he's done every time.
The bosses are more puzzle oriented in this one than previous Sonic games.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate the idea, but a little bit harder would be nice.
Execution leaves a little bit to be desired, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not bad, but it's like, yeah, there could have been more to it.
So this was the only Sonic game that was ever released on the Sega CD because that was kind of a failed peripheral. No, we're not talking about Knuckles Chaotix. Before you ask, it's just not happening.
Yeah. I haven't played it. You haven't played it.
They've never re-released it. Even it should have been on Gems collection, but it's never been re-released.
I think they were trying to, but there's technical difficulties with the emulation.
Oh, I don't know, man. You're asking the wrong guy.
No, that's what I heard.
All right, so next up we have Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Mm-hmm.
Which most people are probably like, what do you mean Sonic the Hedgehog 3? Do you mean Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles? I'll get to that.
Yes.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was a much bigger game than Sonic 2.
Yes, much bigger.
And they couldn't fit it all onto one one cartridge. They actually split it into 2 games.
They could have, but they had to get it out because of the McDonald's promotion.
So they
So
have Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and then I think like 4 months later they released Sonic and Knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
So Sonic and Knuckles was cool because it had like this lock-on thing. You could open the top of it and put another game on there, and it would unlock new features. Like if you put Sonic 1 on there, you unlock like a bunch of infinite blue sphere levels.
Mm-hmm.
If you put on Sonic 2, you can play as Knuckles in Sonic 2, which is actually really cool.
I thought that was the fucking coolest thing in the world as a kid.
And then Sonic 3 is really what you want to put in because it's the full version of Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Yep, all those are intact together, and it's pretty nice.
And this is by far my favorite classic Sonic game.
Yeah, same. There's no contest for the other ones.
Like Sonic 3 and Knuckles is just fantastic.
Off the get-go, yeah, 3 playable characters. Knuckles being a new one.
Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. The special stages are my favorite in the whole series.
They're very easy compared to the rest.
But I love Blue Sphere. I think Blue Sphere is so fun.
Mm-hmm. It is. So one thing that's cool about this game with Knuckles is that he sometimes deviates off the normal pathway that Sonic takes.
Yeah, he has different level layouts. Cool.
Like the first one isn't it Angel Island Zone?
It might be.
I think that's what it's called. But yeah, you go there, and then at the end of Act 1, instead of going up and going to fight the boss like Sonic would, because you can't, because the break and you can't jump high enough. Let's use a glitch. But it kind of breaks the game, so don't do it.
So the first stage,
you go to the right, and then you fight the boss, and then you have like a very underwater-oriented like Act 2 stage. It's very cool. And level design specifically made for him. Like climbing, gliding. It's great. So it's like there's 2 games in one. Were you saying something?
The first stage is Angel Island, which is probably my favorite of the first stages in the classic Sonic games. I love Angel Island Zone a lot, actually.
Me too.
One thing they added, though, the graphics of Sonic 3 are way better.
The graphics are amazing in Sonic 3 for the Genesis.
But they added a new gameplay mechanic, which was the elemental shield. So
you have what, 3 types, 4 types?
Yeah, you have the fire one, the water one, the electric.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all very useful. If you use them as Sonic, you have 3 extra abilities. You get a dash with the fire one, you get a bounce with the water one, you get a double jump with the electric.
And guess which one is our favorite? The electric shield, me.
Yeah, no, the electric one, especially if you have the Chaos Emerald, breaks the game.
Yep. And there's a regular shield as well, but why would you want that?
Yeah, Angel Island Zone is fun. Something they added to this game is at the end of every zone, every act, first or second, there is a boss.
Yeah, a mini boss for Act 1. Which is not too hard, but it can be hard your first time as a kid.
And then you have the full Eggman or Robotnik boss in Act 2.
And the music is really fucking slapping for his boss music, too. Probably my favorite of the classic Sonic games in terms of his boss music.
Yeah, no, the soundtrack's fantastic in this game.
Yeah, Michael Jackson had some help to do with it, but that also caused some issues with re-releasing it years down the road.
Yeah, Sonic 3 and Knuckles does not get re-released often.
Last time it got re-released was like 2009, and then it just was in limbo for about 13 years.
So after Angel Island, we have Hydro City. Say it with me, Alex. Hydro City.
Hydros City.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
It's the water level.
I think as a kid I called it Hydrosity, but I think I also called it Hydro City as well. Like it was back and forth on it. I didn't know. It doesn't feel like a city. It just feels like an underwater like ruins.
I mean, it's a cool level. It's a much more manageable water level than previously.
It's definitely the best water level of the 3 games.
Marvel Garden Zone's okay.
Yeah, it's all right. Like like there's nothing wrong with it, but
I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
the boss battle is kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, sir. If you play
Next
as
up, we have
Knuckles, though, you have a completely different boss.
the Barrel of Doom.
And all you got to do is push up and down.
Yeah, it's
And
not hard. It's not hard.
you know what I did? I used Supersonic. I would jump on it all the way up near the top. Just kept jumping it up and down. It kept getting higher and higher. There was a moment where I jumped off of it and it was super high up. I clipped under it just barely, and my heart stopped for a second. And I was like, I did it. I made it. Oh my God. And then when I figured out how to do it years later, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Next up, we have a really fun stage, Ice Cap.
Sonic Mania also fixes that. When you push up and down, he actually makes an animation.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Ice Cap's really fun.
Well, I mean, we didn't describe it. That like Carnival Night is basically just Casino Night, but more Carnival based, and it has some. The music's okay for the Michael Jackson version, but I kind of prefer the other version.
Yeah, I can agree.
It feels more natural. All right, then we have Ice Cap. This one, I will say, the original music was so much better.
Oh fuck yeah!
Mm, like
I can't
ear,
even disagree.
ear porn, but like aesthetically, it's really fucking pretty. And
It
as
is.
Knuckles, you're underground most of the time, so you have an underground aesthetic, and it's really cool for a cavern.
Yeah, it is. And then we have Launch Base Zone, which was the final zone in the original Sonic 3.
Which the Michael Jackson soundtrack change. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it. Like it's all right, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not amazing either.
Mm-mm.
So,
It
if,
exists.
if you play Sonic 3 by itself, you get the big arm final boss fight. If you do Sonic 3 and Knuckles, that boss fight does not exist.
Also, if you played Sonic 3 by itself, some of the music was different. The Knuckles encounter was a different soundtrack. The Act 1 boss stage music was different. So that's interesting. But you didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you go look it up. It's weird.
So, next up would be the first level of Sonic and Knuckles. But if you play Sonic 3 and Knuckles, it's just after, is Mushroom Hill.
A level I want to see remade.
They did
No,
it.
it's fucking Green Hell again.
They did remake it. It's
Not Generation 3DS. Shut up. Shut up.
it's not as good as Angel Island Zone in all honesty, but it's not bad.
I love it. It's one of my favorite zones in the game.
Then there's Flying Battery.
The music is amazing, and I like the seasonal transitions you can go through.
And then there's Flying Battery, which is it's a level.
In a giant blimp. Yes. It exists. I'd say the Mania version of the stage is honestly worse.
And then there's Sandopolis, which a lot of people seem to hate. I don't actually think it's that bad.
It just goes on for too long. That's the only problem with it. On
Then
average, it takes about like 5 minutes to beat it, maybe 6.
that's long for a classic Sonic level. Then there's Lava
Yeah, and
Reef,
Act 2 is even longer.
then there's Lava Reef, which is basically the opposite of Ice Cap,
I
but
love Lava Reef.
it's really cool. I liked it.
The music's amazing. Um, the aesthetic is great, especially Act 2. Oh my god. And especially when you get near the end of Act 2, where it's like a giant open background and you see the Death Egg crash in there or whatever.
Then
And
we
then
have
the lava boss.
by far the hardest level in the game, Hidden
Oh
Palace.
god. Yeah. That one's pretty hard.
Yeah,
I, I had a hard time beating that one. For
yeah,
some reason. Um in this stage, if you play as Tails or Knuckles, you can reach a certain spot, and it has every shield in the game, including the 1-up and invincibility. I don't know why.
In all seriousness, if you think we're being serious, we're not. You basically can't lose this level.
You know, you could actually die if you wanted to by jumping on the spikes or letting Knuckles kill you.
Yeah, other than that, like you this level's fucking Jesus Christ.
Even a 7-year-old could beat it.
Then we have, for some reason, the zone they picked to bring back a generation, Sky Sanctuary.
It's a fan favorite. I love it. I really like Sky Sanctuary.
I just don't feel like that should have been a level that got brought back.
I would have preferred Mushroom Hill.
I would prefer Ice Cap because you've had a reference to classic and modern in one level.
Well, since Unleashed, it'd be kind of like Unleashed, though, wouldn't it?
Kind of, but you got the snowboard and stuff, which they didn't have in Unleashed.
I mean, you had like a vehicle to ride. It's like,
Yeah,
yes, it's like that.
I guess. I don't know.
Mm.
And then Death Egg Zone actually is a full level now.
All 2 acts. And Knuckles never actually visits those acts. His final
No,
act is Sky Sanctuary, Act 1. He fights this thing called Mecha Sonic, which
yeah,
Sonic fights in Sky Sanctuary, but it doesn't die. So
Sky
Knuckles,
Sanctuary ends it for Knuckles. Sonic has 2 more.
yeah,
Death Egg is actually a pretty challenging final level.
great music though as well. But
Yeah.
it's not my favorite. So
Now, this next level is the first time this happens. And this happens a lot after this game, but
I mean, there is the final boss. There is the quote unquote final boss where you have to fight Eggman's fingers, and then you have to, you know, jump at him where he has the Master Emerald and dodge the giant beam, and then as he's getting away with the emerald, you have to just hit him until he drops it, and then you grab it.
if you have all 7 Chaos Emeralds, or all 7 Super Emeralds, which I'll get back to, you unlock the true final boss. This happens a lot in later Sonic games, where you have to like do everything to get a true boss fight.
Yeah,
Which is the Doomsday Zone, which is the first instance of a boss fight being exclusive to Super Sonic.
yeah, you actually have a reason to actually get him.
This, unlike other boss fights, if Super Sonic runs out of rings, he dies.
Yep, he falls and dies. Just
Only
like an
Sonic. Tails cannot go here. Knuckles cannot go here. Only Sonic can get to this stage.
Yep,
So
and it's pretty fun.
it's actually pretty hard.
First
But
phase, the first phase is hard. The second phase is piss easy.
you can just run into it. But when you're trying to get the missiles, they can be a pain in the. But if you do,
Imagine doing that imagine doing that on a keyboard on the PC version, like I did.
so something cool about this game. This is the only game this is ever mentioned in. So I almost think it's not canon. If you lock the 2 games together, the Chaos Emeralds do become the Super Emeralds in the Sonic and Knuckles have. If you go Super Emeralds, you unlock Hypersonic, Hyper Knuckles, and Super Tails.
Yeah, and when you do get that part of the game, they take away the Chaos Emerald, so you don't have Supersonic anymore.
And to be honest, I don't like Hypersonic as much as Supersonic.
He's completely fucking broken in this game.
Double jump and everything dies.
Double jump in any direction.
Yeah.
Like, it's on the fly. It's like, the physics are just like, nope.
But Hypersonic has never, ever come back after this.
Nope.
And to be honest, when I play Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I really don't bother getting Hypersonic.
Yeah, I don't really care to either.
I get Supersonic, but I don't get Hypersonic.
Yeah, Supersonic's fun.
Supersonic's a lot cooler than Hypersonic, in my opinion.
Hypersonic feels like they just tried too hard, in my opinion.
And maybe if he was just silver, like Ultra Instinct, he'd be cool. But
if they did that back then, imagine how it'd be weird now for Dragon Ball rip-off Sonic.
But Sonic 3 and Knuckles is one of my favorite 2D platformers. I love Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Like, a lot.
I can go back to it sometimes, but I played it so much. Have you ever played a game that you love so much that if you ever play it again, you're sick of it?
Yes.
That's Sonic 3 and Knuckles for me. That's how much I played it and loved it.
But if you want to get
when I play it now, I play it on Origins, and I play it like in mirror mode or something like that, just to freaking give me something different.
If you want to get these games, they are there's so many ways to do it. Like, you can get the original classic games, which actually aren't that expensive.
Well, it's getting they're going. Sonic 3 is going up.
Sonic, if you have a Saturn, Sonic Jam is actually a very good compilation, but it doesn't have CD.
Just get the Japanese version. It's about $50 or so, but
yeah, if you want
the American version, you better have gotten it like 10 years ago.
You're better off getting the Japanese. It's so much cheaper.
I was lucky to get it back then for like $40-$50. Now it's $400 something dollars.
Sonic Mega Collection, which is on Xbox, GameCube, and PS2. You can download them on Sonic Origins now.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many ways to get these games. If you haven't played the classic Sonic games, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, there's some people that haven't. I know.
But if you haven't, you're wrong. So
of course.
There's that.
But remember, Sonic was always bad, remember?
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's only one other Sonic game on the Genesis that was like a spin-off, and that was Sonic Spinball, right?
Yeah. And it's a pinball game with Sonic aesthetics.
Yeah, it's got some like itty bitty platforming here and there, but it's got good music except for the menu music. The controls kind of weird, but it's all right. There's a canceled game or two that were coming out for the Genesis, like one based off the Sat AM show, but they got canned. So,
I mean, if you like pinball, Sonic City is up your alley.
Yeah.
But
the second Collision Chaos boss, if you like pinball.
I think that's pretty much all I have to say about the classic Sonic games. Unless you have something you want to add, man, I think we're all set here.
I don't know. Other than if you want to play these games now, just in their purest form without any like super crazy additions, like Mega Collection has and Gems has, just go with Origins. Find it for sale for like what, $30 or something like that, and you'll be fine. And
yeah,
if you can get over the music changes in Sonic 3, which I can easily, some people can't. It's actually kind of sad. Like, I'm not buying it because it doesn't have the actual regular music in there. Ruins the game.
Oh no! Idiots.
I know. Yeah, if you want, go play it on PC then, you fuckers. get your precious music back. But yeah, fantastic trilogy. Sonic 3 being the best. Oh well, 4 games, but whatever.
Five,
Sonic
technically.
3.
Talk about CD.
Yeah, the 8th sin, as Scott the Wasp puts it. Or was the 9th sin? I forget.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, he says he's. I think he says it's like the weakest Sonic game of the original trilogy.
Probably.
For us, it's kind of the same thing with us. It's like first it's Sonic CD probably being the weakest, maybe.
And
Then Sonic Rim.
I like Sonic CD though.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. But anyway, that's all I have to say about the franchise because, or the classic era anyway. Because other than that, I play them to death so much that I don't really want to play them that much anymore.
I understand.
Unless it gets like an HD like art style remake or something.
That would be cool.
I'd love that. An official way to play it, not the fan remake of Sonic 2 HD. Which you should look up. Looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, I will. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. And next time we are here, I think we're going to be talking about Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon. You want to do Generation 1 and 2 in one sitting because they're both for the original Game Boy?
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
it'll work.
Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. And stay tuned. We'll be around next time. Take care.
Can get Spark too.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Why are you like this?